All right, now it is time to cook. Isaac Stewart is here from CinéBistro. Not a completely unhealthy meal this morning. We've got some lovely pencil asparagus to go with our crab cakes this morning. Good source of protein in the crab meat. Have I justified it yet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, welcome to the Hampton Roadshow.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
Good.
To talk about CinéBistro a little bit.
Yeah.
Because what we have going on up there is really cool.
All right.
It's really, really cool. You know, you take the escalator up and it's just, you know, we have designers that have designed this huge thing that is really, really cool. So I hope you guys come out and see it.
You can check out the movie, but also you can eat.
You can
take
eat
it way beyond popcorn if you go.
At this one, you can actually bowl as well.
Wow.
We have 9 bowling lanes.
Wow.
So,
that's pretty cool. Well, one of the things that you can find on the menu, of course, Isaac's crab cakes here, and he's going to show us how to make them this morning. So why don't we start with just kind of the list of ingredients that's going in the bowl.
Basically, it's a very simple traditional crab cake. One thing that's very cool about being a chef for this company is, you know, as we're starting to expand around the country, we're opening in very cool locations, one of them being Hampton, Virginia. And we're trying to do local fare and kind of figure out what the regional cuisine is like. So we're doing a very traditional crab cake here. Obviously with some very, very large white crab and some very little filler. Just some stuff to season it up. So basically we have some black pepper to start. Let's go ahead and throw it in here.
Okay.
Some dry mustard.
I recognize the panko breadcrumbs.
Yeah, and it's important to me to use the panko because that may look like a lot of bread, but it's actually a lot of air in there.
Yeah.
So when you get that liquid involved, it's going to shrink down and you're just going to see the crab, basically. Old Bay. Can't have crab cakes without Old Bay.
I think there's a law against that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Worcestershire sauce.
Now, you said you mix the eggs and the mayonnaise together already.
I did. Basically, we're using pasteurized eggs.
Are you worried about the eggs?
Well, we are. And the other thing about crab cakes is you don't want to overcook them.
Yeah.
So you basically just want to kind of heat them through, or else they have a tendency to dry out. So it's important to use the pasteurized ones in there for me.
Okay.
So,
and the dry mustard, why dry and not just regular mustard?
Well, dry mustard, I don't want to...
I can take those.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
I don't want to affect the liquid, you know, balance of it. I don't want to add any more liquid in there.
Okay.
So it's just to kind of get that mustard punch in there.
And I know, you know, you probably want to mix all these ingredients first.
Absolutely.
Without the crab in there, so you don't don't bust the crab apart trying to mix those ingredients well.
So I'm going to add the panko right in with this. So and you'll see they kind of shrink down a little bit and they'll absorb that liquid.
Yeah. Now the crab cakes, once we form them, will go into the skillet here. But will you cook them through on the stovetop, or do you finish them in the oven?
Basically, at the restaurant, what we'll do is we'll brush them with butter and broil them. You know, at home, it's probably more, you know, likely that someone's going to start them on the stove and finish them in the oven. Or what you could do is you could literally just brush them with butter and put them in the oven.
Okay. So they don't have to get started.
Yeah, this will put a little bit of a crust on the outside, a little bit of color on them. So,
okay.
And I'm going to very carefully fold in this nice lump crab meat.
Just with the hands.
Just with your hands.
Best tool there is.
Best tool there is. You know, gloved hands. Kind of feel it so you're not breaking up this beautiful crab.
Yeah. And so, but it'll still stay together, huh?
Yeah, it will. And, you know, to be honest with you, if you let this sit for a few hours in the refrigerator, it will come together really nicely and really firm.
Okay.
So this is a very loose mixture, and you basically want to form these crab cakes pretty loose, pretty loosely.
And then I can feel that you've already got the pan kind of heated up here.
Yeah, we've got it heated.
Okay. Do we need to throw some oil in this pan?
Yeah, can we throw a little butter in there?
Butter, okay.
Yeah.
Which one, this big one?
The big one right there.
Okay, and you already had a little butter melting on the stove. Now, why do you like to use the butter instead of the oil? Any reason other than the fact
I actually will do a mixture of both.
Okay.
So you don't burn the butter, but the butter will give you a nice browning on there as well.
Okay.
Just slide that really quickly.
Alrighty.
And just
in it goes.
Start one crab cake.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and form the rest of these. We'll get them into the oven. When we come back, we're going to start working on our pencil asparagus that goes with the crab cakes and the sauce that's going to go on top. We're going to find out more about the things happening at CinéBistro right now. Segay, yeah. Roadshow Kitchen with Isaac Stewart. He's the corporate executive chef of CinéBistro, and this morning he is showing us how to make their signature crab cakes there. And also we're going to move along to the pencil asparagus with the sun-dried tomato tapenade. Before the show I called it tapenade, and I was quickly corrected by our producers. Tapenade. So I'm looking forward to learning how to make that. Meantime, the crab cakes look wonderful. These are finished.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, you don't see any filler in there. It's disappeared.
Nope. And that's important. You know, my wife is actually from Baltimore. We live in Atlanta
she's
now.
An authority.
She's an authority, and
crab
she will not let me make a bad crab cake.
All right. You don't want to upset the wife. You know what I mean?
Absolutely
Upsets
not.
the whole house. So. All right, let's talk about our asparagus.
Okay.
The pencil asparagus. Now, is there a season for this kind of asparagus? Because sometimes in the grocery store, you see the really thin stalks, and then sometimes it's it's like the
it's kind of becoming standardized, and you can get this any time of year. Spring is definitely the season for local asparagus.
Right.
But they're doing this in Chile, and in the winter you're getting this stuff as well.
Okay.
But I love the pencil stuff. The reason I do is
it's a little sweeter, isn't it?
It's a little sweeter. It's easy to use. Basically, you're just cropping the ends off. There's no peeling. You're not cooking it all the way through. And I just kind of like to pan sear it and leave a little crispness on there and put a little brown on it.
All right.
A little bit of color on it. So I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil.
And again, we learned so many tricks of the trade here in the kitchen because you heated the pan first and then put in the oil. Where I know at home I used to put the oil in the cold pan, heat it up, and then cook.
Right. Well, it's important to get that oil nice and to get the pan nice and hot.
Why though?
Because if the asparagus is going into a cold pan, you're going to steam it, and you're going to get kind of a mushy product as opposed to putting a little color on it.
I gotcha.
So I'm kind of going to try and do this in one layer. The other thing you want to wait is you want to put the color on it first before you season it, because if you put salt on it, it's going to pull that liquid out of the inside of the vegetable, and it's going to get soggy as well.
Okay.
So if you're trying to put color on it, wait to season it till the very end.
Okay. That makes perfect sense. You were saying at CinéBistro, which you could, and you can thank me for this, you could call it CinéBistro Bowl, because you said you've got bowling alleys
the
there
lanes
too.
at CinéBistro.
The lanes, well, yeah, I guess your way sounds better than CinéBistro Bowl. But how are folks responding to kind of the dinner and entertainment venue all in one shop?
Well, after they get past the first educational experience, it is a learning process.
Yeah.
And to come in there and actually have full service, really nice service. You have waiters basically waiting on you hand and foot.
Yeah.
People really enjoy it. And the other thing about it is it is 21 and up after 6 p.m.
Okay.
So it kind of puts the dinner and the movie date night into one.
Yeah.
But if they're people really enjoy the concept. They really enjoy it after they get past the first educational period of it.
And folks may be surprised at the gourmet food they can have, because usually, let's face it, if you're deciding to have dinner at the movies, you've kind of made a sacrifice already on a good meal and say, all right, well, we'll just eat popcorn for dinner, but not so much here. Good that you can do that. Okay. So this didn't take very long at all.
This didn't take long at all.
The pan was so hot.
Yeah, and also the pencil asparagus is very important.
Okay.
This is a trick in the kitchen. These things are called save-a-days, and they just kind of pull all the extra grease off of it.
That's good, since we've been talking about obesity today.
I've actually been texting over here in the corner as well.
Get out of here! You can't text while you cook. And you're not a teenager. You just look like one.
And the other part of this recipe is, excuse me really quick, let me slide on this side of you.
We're getting a wrap, though.
This is the tapenade part.
Oh.
So I'm going to throw some chopped sun-dried tomatoes in here and just kind of warm them. This pan doesn't need to be hot at all.
Okay. You know what? Let's work on this when we come back, because we're getting the wrap. All right? All right.
Sounds good.
We've got to get to Kelly on our next. All right, back in the kitchen with Isaac Stewart of CinéBistro this morning. You're so good, you stopped, right? It was kind of a cliffhanger.
Kind of where we left off.
You started with the topping for the asparagus, but we ran out of time. But if you're just joining us, you would put in the sun-dried tomatoes.
Yeah, diced sun-dried tomatoes. These are Kalamata olives.
A favorite around here.
Chopped about the same size. Everything in here is chopped about the same size. These are green onions, and these are equal parts of everything.
Okay. A little salt and pepper?
A little salt and pepper, and this is just the oil that the sun-dried tomatoes are packed in.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just to kind of moisten everything.
So you just said you're just kind of warm this through and then kind of crumble that over the asparagus.
Correct.
All right. And the asparagus, we just kind of put a quick pan sear on, and then you seasoned afterward.
Right.
And you were saying that you keep these around because they're kind of absorbent.
Yep.
We'll take the extra grease out if you want to keep things a little
They're really
bit
good
healthier.
for fried food.
Yeah.
Coming right out of the fryer, it just pulls all the extra grease off it and keeps everything nice and crisp.
And of course, we started off this morning by making these beautiful crab cakes that are already waiting for us too.
Set this over here.
One last finishing touch that we need to do, though, right, is the sauce that you put on the crab cakes.
Excuse me.
Okay.
So what we serve at the restaurant is a ancho ranch tartar sauce. Basically, this is ranch dressing that we make there.
But you could take a shortcut at home and just
absolutely
open the bottle if you wanted.
This is ancho and chipotle puree.
What's an ancho?
Ancho peppers are actually dried poblano peppers.
Okay.
So they're big. They're actually very sweet. They almost kind of have a raisiny consistency or taste. And this is just dill pickle relish.
Okay.
So a very simple sauce.
But how do you figure that out? I mean, how do you discover a sauce like that with those things that seem kind of random?
Well, I mean, it's basically a spicy ranch with the tartar component would be the dill pickle relish. So very simple to go with the crab cakes. Add a little bit of a kick. I like to keep the crab cakes pretty traditional, but where you can kind of have fun is the sauce.
All right, I'll take those to the sink, and you can kind of set up a plate as you would if we were at CinéBistro Bowl.
Right.
Or CinéBistro and
The lanes at CinéBistro.
the lanes at CinéBistro.
Okay.
I'm trying.
So we just take some of the asparagus and kind of fan it out on the plate. Looks a lot better if you keep everything facing the same way.
Yes, but it's all right. We forgive you. And it is pretty much facing the same way. You have a couple little rebel pieces of asparagus, but that's all right. You could just cover them up with what you made here.
Yep. This is the tartar sauce, which is going to go on the plate.
Okay. All right, we're going to let you finish putting that together. I'm sure it will be beautiful. We'll come back and look at it in a few minutes. In the meantime, we have a prize to give away. That's coming up. And also, we have got our guest from Bayport this